Welcome to Catholic Messenger Conversations. I'm your host, Barb Arland-Fye, and our guest today, or actually co-partner in this conversation, is Lindsay Steele, our diocesan reporter for the Catholic Messenger.
Hello.
And guess what we're going to talk about? Actually, this is Lindsay's idea, so I'm giving her all the credit. Her topic is seeds of faith. You never know what's going to sprout. You got to know one thing about Lindsay. She loves puns, and I'm a punster too, so I guess that'll be fine. So we'll talk about some of the recent happenings in the Diocese of Davenport and what's coming up, among other things. Lindsay, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, I've been with the Messenger as diocesan reporter for 10 years this month, actually.
Congratulations.
Thanks. My job is to primarily cover events and people outside of the Scott County area. It's a big job, but it's a lot of fun. It's a great chance to meet people and make connections. So, yeah, it's been a good experience so far.
And that's great. And tell us a little bit about your family.
Right. I've been married to Chris for about 12 years. We have 2 kids. Bradley is 8 and Elsie is 2.5. They definitely keep us busy and on our toes.
That's great. Okay, so I think the first topic, why don't we talk about the Iowa Catholic Youth Conference? And this happened on Palm Sunday.
It did.
Tell me about that. Do you know why it's on Palm Sunday?
I'm not sure about the schedule and how they kind of planned all that, but I do know that Archbishop Zinkula, who presided at Mass, he tied it into his homily, which was very interesting.
Tell me a little bit about that homily. What did he? How did he tie that into the event itself?
Well, a big theme of the event was for the middle school youth in attendance, so that they would know that they are not alone in the things that they're going through, and also thinking about where is their source of confidence, how much are they putting on other people's opinions of themselves? So in the homily, Archbishop talked about Jesus' journey from Palm Sunday to then the Passion, where he goes from everybody is cheering for him to all of a sudden his friends, the community members, are really leaving him feeling let down and abandoned. And so he tied that in with this whole theme of where are the youths getting their sense of self-worth from? Are they putting it on the... And, this is all of us. All of us feel this way, where we want other people to like us, but there's only so much stock we can put in that because opinions are fickle. People aren't perfect. And really what the youths need to do is accept the gifts they've been given, be the best version of themselves, and like Jesus, think about the relationship with God. Ultimately, that's the only relationship that matters.
Oh, that's awesome. That's just terrific. I love that. That would help, I think, some of the mental health issues that kids are dealing with if they could just concentrate on that idea that the one who really matters most is God. And the way you just articulated that is just beautiful. I really appreciate that.
Easier said than done, for sure.
Oh, for sure. And then tell me, what was that experience being like at that Mass? I was trying to figure out how many people, because there was a huge crowd there, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was about 300 people there. I talked to Trevor Pullinger, who works for the diocese and helped plan that event. And 300 was more than they were expecting. They were absolutely thrilled with that number. About 2/3 were from our diocese. It took place at Regina High School in Iowa City, so it was located in our diocese, but still pretty close to the Dubuque Archdiocese, which also participated.
And so were there folding chairs set up there and everything in the bleachers?
Yeah, they had one side of bleachers set up. It had room for almost everybody, but they also had some folding chairs set up in front of the bleachers. That's where I sat. I sat next to a nice group from Pella. And then they had the altar and everything set up in the middle of the gym facing the bleachers.
And then, now, who provided the music for the liturgy?
The guests for the day were the Scally Brothers of Ohio. It's 2 brothers. I think their names are Zach and Jake. And one of them sings and plays acoustic guitar, the other's on drums. And they provided... they led music worship, and there was a PowerPoint set up with all the lyrics that they were going to use throughout the Mass.
Are they real popular? I keep hearing about them. I mean, I know that Trevor Pullinger the faith formation director for the Diocese of Davenport, was really excited about the Scally brothers. What's appealing about them? What's so?
I think they definitely have a lot of charisma, and they're young. So I think that the youth, even though the middle school youths are obviously a bit younger than the Scally brothers, so I think they're probably in their 20s or early 30s.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, they're a little bit younger. They really kind of built rapport with the kids early on by having a Name That Tune, Boys versus Girls. And they played Coldplay, Imagine Dragons, some classic acts. Maybe it was Journey or Bon Jovi, one of those two, maybe both. Yeah, and they kind of have this pop rock sound, but obviously with that Catholic twist to it.
And then I understand they were kind of appealing to the girls. At least that's what you gave me the impression.
Yeah, I would say he was. Yeah, I think that the kids really liked the band. I know that the group from Pella, when they were listening to the band's music all the way home, and yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so it took place at Regina, but this was an event coordinated by the Archdiocese and the Diocese.
Yep.
And so do they alternate or what?
They do. They alternate between, so far since they've started the event, it's alternated between Regina and Iowa City and Mount Mercy and Cedar Rapids. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And have you covered all of them?
Yeah, I have. I think this is either the third or fourth year for the event. And previous to that, the diocese had other incarnations of a youth conference. So there's been several times where they've held something of this caliber at Regina.
Oh, I got it. And then tell me a little bit. I think when you came back, you thought the breakout sessions were pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, can you tell me a little bit about did they have breakout sessions for adults too?
Yeah. The adults could go to whatever they wanted to, but there was one that was specific to them. Deacon Mike Linenbrink from the West Point area led what he called an organic grassroots discussion where the adults could bring up things that they were concerned about with their youth, either their children or the youth that they work with. Some of the topics that came up were mental health, gender issues, sexual orientation, church involvement, things like that, and people could just sort of share their ideas. And Deacon Mike served as the mediator for that.
Oh, that's terrific.
I think the adults really appreciated the opportunity to be able to be candid like that. And as far as the other breakouts, the youths could sort of choose their own adventure between, I think there were maybe 4 presentations, and they had time for maybe 2 of them. And yeah, I did sit in on a couple of them.
Tell me about them.
Mm-hmm. There was one where the speaker was going through the story of Jesus's passion and the way that people maybe hurt him or sort of let him down or made him feel abandoned along the way. And the speaker then asked the youths to write on a note card some of the times where they have maybe hurt somebody else in a similar way. And then at the end of that, they would nail their note cards to a wooden cross at the front of the classroom. They could either put it face up where people could read what they had written, or have it face down if they wanted to keep it more private. And that was intended, the speaker said that was intended to be a way to sort of like reflect and let go, not as a replacement for confession, but as something kind of in a similar vein. And another one that I found interesting was all the youths would stand in a line, and the presenter would give an example of something rather unpleasant, like step forward if you've ever been told that you can't do something because you're a girl, or step forward if anybody's ever made fun of the way you look. And each time she said something, at least one person would step forward, and that let the youths know that no matter what they're going through, there's probably somebody else out there that's going through the same thing. They don't have to feel alone in what they are experiencing.
Were you amazed by that? I mean, I would think that would take a lot of courage to have even done that in public in front of how many kids were there in the room, for example?
There were smaller groups. I think my group was maybe about 15 people, so probably the smaller size.
Okay.
And doing it in the choir room as opposed to in the gym
okay.
Probably made people feel a little bit more comfortable. But there were some questions that probably people might have felt a little bit embarrassed about, but you could really see it was hard for me as a parent to see some of the things that the kids were experiencing, because I could imagine maybe my son going through some of those things and how I wish he didn't have to.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting. So what about music a little bit more? You kind of talked about that a little bit. Did they also give any kind of a talk or testimonials or anything?
This is what's different than the past 2 years. The past 2 years, they had the singer-songwriter Dana Catherine come, and she would do a little mini concert and also give a keynote presentation. This time, the band did a concert at the end. They would throw in a little inspirational lines here and there about following your dreams or God giving you strength, little things like that. But it was cool to see the kids with their glow bracelets on and jumping up and down and singing songs that give praise to God, but in sort of a style that made them feel really, I think, energized and invigorated. They were having a blast out there.
Oh, that's great. And I guess we didn't really say what age group they were. Were they junior high?
Yeah,
middle?
They were primarily middle school youth, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. There were some adults there too, either youth ministers, parents. One woman I know from Coralville was there just because she thought it'd be a cool event. She wanted to experience it.
Oh, that's terrific. Anything else you want to mention about that, or what was your overall takeaway?
I think that one of the youth ministers from Pella actually put it best in that I think that these kids, especially this day and age, kids can feel who go to church might feel really isolated and feel like there's not a lot of other kids like that. You go to an event like this and see hundreds of other kids your age who are also Catholic, and it makes. I think it really ties in the message of the whole event, united.
Oh, that's cool. That's really great. Well, do you want to flip the tables and you ask me some questions about one of the things I've covered recently?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. So you, a few weeks ago, were present at the Chrism Mass, wrote a story about that. And for those who don't know, what is the Chrism Mass?
The Chrism Mass is a diocesan-wide celebration, and that's where the priests renew their commitment to their priestly service, and that the bishop will bless and consecrate the oils that the diocese parishes will use in the coming year. So it's a really special, it's a really wonderful diocesan celebration. And in fact, because we don't have a bishop in the Diocese of Davenport since Archbishop Thomas Senkula left us to become the leader in the Archdiocese of Dubuque, Bishop Martin Amos, who preceded Archbishop Thomas Senkula, came back to lead the Mass. And so, it felt almost like a homecoming in a way. It really did. And it's interesting to see him up at the altar, and Deacon David Montgomery, the diocesan chief of staff and some of the other deacons up there. It's like, oh my gosh, it's deja vu in a way, but it was beautiful. It's like a homecoming. And the bishop said this is one of his favorite masses because it is. It's a diocesan-wide celebration, and the liturgy is beautiful. The readings, his homily is just excellent, and the music, of course, the diocesan choir is just fantastic. And to listen to everybody sing and lift up their voices for God, it's just you can't not be inspired. And then to see, I think for kids especially, it's so cool. Well, even people haven't been to a Chrism Mass, to see all those priests lining, coming in, processing in with the bishop, and it's just beautiful, and the cross bearer and the thurifier, and all the people bringing in the things that are used to make that Mass so special, and to see the deacons, and they're all in their obs as well. So that was really, really cool.
Right. And I understand that one part of Bishop's homily really hit home for you this year, as you'd been accompanying a friend battling terminal cancer. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes. As I said, the bishop blesses the oils and consecrates the chrism, and so these oils are each one has a special purpose. And for instance, the oil of the sick is used to strengthen, console, and heal those who are infirm. The oil of catechumens strengthens and frees those preparing for baptism. And the sacred chrism is used to ordain bishops and priests, to confirm, to anoint newly baptized infants, and to dedicate churches and altars. And so for my friend, I couldn't help but thinking about my friend, and I can't remember if she died right after that or if she died before that, but I thought, he talked about how that the oil is sick. I mean, that for those people, this could be the final for their journey, to their final journey home. Right. And so I couldn't help but think about my friend and how she had come back to the church, and I couldn't help but reflect on that that the oil had been used with my friend for her journey home, and that really touched me this year more than any other year, I think. So that was really special.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. So that's what I enjoyed about that, and I'm trying to think if there's any. There were some other. I mean, I was really inspired by people's comments, about their experience of the Chrism Mass. One thing I have to mention, and I probably shouldn't name names, but I've been praying for someone. I have a little mental prayer list where I pray for people we've been asked to pray for. And I've been praying for someone, I guess it's been for 15 years, didn't even know it. And I saw that person's name on the program, and I just lifted my heart to think, there's that person I've been praying for all these years, wondered whatever became of that person. And that person is thriving and had a role in the Mass, and it was just very, very touching. And there was also, there were some seminarians there. They would have been in serving roles. Mm-hmm. And there was a seminarian, Alfonso Pisano, and he'd said that it's edifying to see the larger church outside our home parishes come together to celebrate. And that was really cool. And that was so true of so many people, to see the bigger church. Their parishes are so important, but to see that we're all a community of the faithful. And then the other thing that was really touching to me is Father Patrick Hilgendorf's mother, Marlene Hilgendorf. Father Patrick grew up in Clinton, and so his mother is still there. And Father Patrick is now the pastor at Our Lady of Victory in Davenport. And Marlene was there, and clearly, she's probably been dealing with some health challenges, but she has been to 27. She's been to 25 of the last 27 Chrism Masses. Obviously, her son was ordained to the priesthood 27 years ago, so she has tried to make every single one of those Chrism Masses, and it just moved me. And she said that she was there to see her son renew the promises he made at his ordination 27 years ago. It's special, she said, and she just was, her voice was choked with emotion, and I just thought, it just was so. It touched my heart because I've known Marlene since I was a member of, up in the Clinton parish for, I got married up there, and so I was just to see her, and it just really touched my soul, and then another Father Ken Kuntz, who's our diocesan administrator. It's always good to get his impression. He said to see all the priests and deacons and women, religious and laity, and to have Bishop Amos with us, it was a real blessing. And I just thought it just was a really special Mass, and it like I said, it felt like a homecoming.
That's wonderful.
So anyway, that's what I got out of the Chrism Mass, and I thought, well, let's talk. I'll come back to asking you questions. I want to ask you about the St. Thomas More parish in Coralville.
Yeah,
and they just had a groundbreaking. What was the groundbreaking for?
They are, at long last, starting work on an expansion project to essentially make sure that everybody who wants to come on Mass on Sunday can sit in the same room. The parish has grown by maybe about 1,000 families since moving out to Coralville in 2009. So I know I had gone to Mass prior to the groundbreaking, and given this is just an ordinary Sunday, and I got there right about the time Mass was going to start, and the main worship space was completely full, aside from a few single chairs, which the ushers led me to one of them. You also had people in an overflow room and in the basement. So this growing parish is very much in need of expanding the worship space, and they're finally, at long last, going to be able to do it.
And so, I mean, tell me a little bit about what does it look like right now? I mean, is there, you were at the Mass.
Right.
Was it, you said it was very, very full, a lot of people there.
Absolutely.
Were you able to see, was it groundbreaking outside or was it indoors? Or
It was supposed to be, but we got a lot of rain in the days leading up to the groundbreaking, and they've already started some excavation work. So it was too muddy to do it outside. So they actually had it in the basement, and they have windows in the basement that big windows that look out over over the construction. So they opened up the windows, had a wheelbarrow in front of where Father Chuck and others were going to be talking, and so for the ceremonial aspect of it, different people who were involved in the 6-year campaign took a shovel, and they would just stick it a little bit in the dirt that was in the wheelbarrow, take a few pictures, and then later on, when the weather's right, they're going to spread that dirt onto the site.
Oh, that sounds really cool. Any other thoughts about the groundbreaking, or should we tackle some other things?
Yeah, we can just, I'm really happy for them. Father Chuck said in his homily, it's been a long time coming. They had some challenges along the way with, they were just about ready to start work on this expansion when COVID hit. So fundraising, they kind of put a pause on that at the time. And meanwhile, the costs for everything were starting to go up. So they've just been really diligent about this, and the parish is very excited that they'll finally be able to move forward.
You know, it really speaks to people's resilience and commitment, doesn't it? I mean, they love that parish, and they're going to do what they can to make sure it accommodates it seems like it's a very, very welcoming parish. That's what they want to be, right?
Yep, they've said they believe it's a combination of the growing corridor area population, the leadership, the worship music, and the overall sense of community within the parish that really draws people and keeps them.
Oh, that's terrific. So, I know that of course I know this, that one of your responsibilities is, thank God, is to arrange our calendar of events, which is like putting together a jigsaw puzzle, right, in a way?
A little bit.
So tell me about it. What are some of the things we can plug into? What can you tell us some of the things that people ought to know about that are coming up?
Well, it's April is Earth Month. It's not just Earth Day anymore. It's Earth Month. And the Sisters of St. Francis in Clinton and other Sisters of St. Francis from the Midwest had gotten together to make an online resource for celebrating and caring for creation. So the link to that, you can either go to the Clinton Franciscans website, or that link is in our calendar on page 4 in the e-edition. It's also available online. And another thing that some parishes are getting really excited about is singer-songwriter Steve Angrisano is going to be performing April 18th in Burlington at 2 different events, and then April 21st in Centerville. He performs in the area fairly often, so people are familiar with him. And
they like it. Tell me, I know people want to know, okay, how do you get things into the calendar? What kinds of things do you accept in the calendar?
I don't think there's too much that we would necessarily say no to, as long as usually it's something that needs to be a parish event or some organization that's connected with the diocese, or Catholic teaching, or school events. So anything from fish fries to these, the Steve Angrisano concerts, or all people need to do is email us at messenger@davenportdiocese.org, or contact me, or contact anybody in our office, and we'll be able to take some notes down, the what, where, when, why, and get it in. Deadline for a Thursday paper would be, I'd say, probably around noon on Monday. You'd have a good chance of making it in for that week.
And so should we let listeners, not readers, we want readers, but we also want listeners too here. Mm-hmm. So we're already what do we always have our planning meetings. In fact, we just had a planning meeting yesterday, didn't we, about what we're kind of looking ahead to working on. And so I guess I wanted to just put a plug in for we're talking about. We know how important affordable housing is in our diocese, and the fact that it's really hard for some people to maintain or obtain affordable housing. So this is also, as you said, this is Earth Month. It's also Fair Housing Month. And so that's real interesting. That's all about making sure that everybody is able to have a roof over their heads.
I know that's something that you've been really looking into, especially over the past year, and everybody's familiar with what happened at the Davenport downtown and really exacerbating the affordable housing crisis, at least here. What are some of the things that you've learned in your research that you're hoping to sort of investigate a little further with the story?
I just know that affordable housing is a very, very complicated issue, lots of facets to it, and there's no one quick, easy solution to it. And that's probably why it still is a challenge for people. But I do want to put out a little kudos for the Sisters of Humility, the Sisters of the Congregation of the Humility Mary, who have been groundbreakers in working through their creation of Humility Mary housing, which has grown into Humility Homes and Services. They've done a terrific job of not only sheltering people without a home, but making sure that people have the services and the support that they need to become as self-sufficient as possible. And it's awesome. I've interviewed numbers of individuals and families over the years who have benefited greatly from their dedication, and I just can't say enough about it. And they've got great leadership now in place, a lot of lay people who have stepped up to the plate to take Humility Homes and Services beyond and to continue to increase the opportunity for affordable housing. They're not the only ones in the whole diocese that are doing things, but they've just set such an example for how you need to put skin in the game in order to help make a difference in the lives of others. You can do, we need people to advocate, we need people to pray, we need people to volunteer to help, make sure that everybody has what they need to live a full and fulfilling life, just like all of us want to do.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
So I'm thinking, do you have any other thoughts, reflections you want to share about your work?
Not right now, but it's been great being here and chatting with you today.
Yes, I know. I think we should do this again. I think it's really great, and we can just keep letting people know what's coming up ahead in the Catholic Messenger, and invite them to share ideas with us about what they want to see in the Catholic Messenger, because that's something that we really welcome, isn't it? We need to have people have their voice in the Messenger and to be able to share their thoughts and reflections, right?
Yep. My favorite journalism professor in college would always say, journalism is all about people. So
it is about people. Well, again, thank you for being with me. You're a great conversation partner, and I enjoy that, and we'll do it again. That's it for this issue of the Catholic Messenger Conversations.